One, two, three. I always feel foolish doing that. I need to give him one of them little clickers. Anyway, welcome to the Bearded Guy Podcast. I hope you're doing well today. Today, I'm sitting out on my deck, just enjoying the weather. It's a little bit warm out today, but, there's been a slight breeze today, so it's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Now, I do have my mobile setup out here, my Frankenstein that I built today. Hope you like it. It's kind of the engineered version of a store-bought stand. But it works well, does what I want it to do, so I guess I can't complain. Now today, we're going to talk about scary movie monsters. Which one instilled fear in you as a young adult, a young person, or even as a child? What monster from Hollywood just reached down into your psyche and just put the fear into you every time it came on the silver screen? For me, it was the werewolf. I always remember the werewolf. Seeing a man turn into a big scary monster like that always instilled fear in me. And I think the thing that really drove that fear home was when it would be a full moon and it's dark out, and they're showing the scene where he's in the woods or he's wherever he is. And then he catches a glimpse of the full moon, and you see the fear come over the actor's face, and then you see this transformation start. Now, I remember Michael Landon played the werewolf, and I forget the name of the movie. It may have just been The Werewolf. But Michael Landon played the werewolf, and I look back on it today, and I think about that movie. At the time, it scared me to death. It was in black and white, and it was just that creepy vibe, and it was like, oh, this is just the greatest, the scariest thing in the world. And I remember, watching him transform from a man into the werewolf beast. And that was, now it's funny because it was like stop motion. They'd film a little bit of it, stop, add more makeup and effects, stop, add more makeup and effects. And you could see it progressing as they went along. Again, at the time, it was right scary. It was one of those things, you watch as a child and you go, oh my God, he just turned into a wolf. But now with CGI and special effects and special makeup effects, man, what they can do in Hollywood is phenomenal. It's no wonder horror movies and psychological thrillers, and anything dealing with aliens, space, and creatures and whatnot, make millions of dollars is because all of that goes into these special effects is made to draw that fear out of you and to get into that psyche of the person, and just get them hooked. And there's something about being scared at the movies or being scared of what we see on the screen. There's something about that I think we thrive on and that we need, something deep down and primal that we need, that reminder, that fear to be human, if you will. And it's because we can go through life and it may seem happy-go-lucky, with nothing to challenge that happiness. And then we watch a horror movie or we watch something that's like a psychological movie. And it's one of those things that I think it puts us back in the sense or in touch with our own mortality, knowing that death could visit us at any time, and it keeps us vigilant. It keeps us on our toes. Now, will the werewolf come out from behind a tree on a full moon night and get you? Probably not. But you never know. I mean, we do have Bigfoot to contend with. But what movie monster scared you to death? What movie monster was the be-all, end-all in fright and fear for you? Again, for me, it was the werewolf. And I, to this day, now I do love Dracula and all of the different versions and inventions of Dracula and the vampire series and, vampires in general. I think from the vampire standpoint, me, it's the living forever, never aging. The only downside to that is having to drink blood. I don't think I could do that. But again, if you're a vampire, it really doesn't matter. But those are, again, the vampires are scary, but there's a chance that you could survive being attacked by a vampire. Think about it. Because the chance of it turning you into a vampire, that's what you see a lot of, turning people into vampires. But the werewolf, it was just primal because it was a wolf. Its goal was to hunt, kill, and eat. That's what it did. I didn't think about it. There was no purpose behind it. It was just, it's a killing machine. It was built to kill. And that's what, think about it. Animals in the wild, whether it's lions, tigers, bears, wolves, whatever that is, that's their instinct, survival, to hunt, kill, and eat. And that's what they're going to do. And I think that's why the werewolf has such a fearful place, not only with me as a child, but now as an adult. I can watch a werewolf movie and I'm enthralled with it. And I really love the special effects that come out of the movies nowadays. I love to see how creative they get with the transformation. Now, the Wolfman, which came out, it wasn't too long back, a couple years ago, Benicio del Toro, I think that was his name. That was a really good version of that movie. Now, it didn't get a lot of critical acclaim from reviewers or critics, but to me, it was a great movie. I loved the story. I loved how they twisted it around with Anthony Hopkins being the father, and he was a werewolf, and he got, they locked him up every full moon cycle. So I thought the way they told the story was really, really good. But the sad thing about the werewolf movies is simply this. You may grow to love the character. You may grow to root for the werewolf because he's being persecuted for being his natural self. But in the end, they always meet their demise. And I think that's, again, you root for these characters. And it's crazy because it's a monster. It's evil. But then you end up like, yeah, come on, win, win, win. And I think they do that on purpose. But what was your scary monster? What was the one that instilled fear in you? What was the monster from your childhood that, really took you to the edge of your seat, that white knuckle experience where you're just on, you're on alert every single minute of the movie? Again, it was the werewolf for me, but there were others. There was Frankenstein. There was a creature from the Black Lagoon. There was the Mummy, of course. Frankenstein was another good one. Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. I mean, goodness, great storytelling. I mean, think about the minds that invented these characters and these monsters at the time they did. Now, a lot of these monsters were created out of course, societal issues at the times and different things they were dealing with, and you can kind of tell that how they wrap all that up in there. If you really just stop and look at it, I try not to analyze them too much, but a lot of societal things at the time, struggles, trials, different things that were going on, injustices, those found their way into these monster characters that were created. And it's a beautiful thing. I mean, I love the way that directors and writers, producers, and, people that film movies, I like the way they take and put their own twist on it. They'll put a little something in there, except for shiny vampires. I don't know where that twist come from, but my wife loves it. But anyway, so again, I'd love to hear from you on this. Tell me what scares you. Tell me what monster really scares you. Which one just gets into your mind and just instills fear in your heart? I'd love to know what that is. So drop me a line at beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. That's beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. And tell me what that monster is for you. Which one just really instills fear in you as an adult and really instilled fear in you as a child? Now, there are some psychological thrillers, of course, that, psychological thrillers are good if they're done well. There are some dumb ones out there that just end stupid. And then there's some that are really just like, leave you head scratching going, what? Was it a monster? Was it a demon? What was it actually that happened here? What did I miss? Psychological thrillers like that are good. Now, my wife and I watched one that was, it was called Hereditary. The end of that movie made you feel like you needed to take a shower. It was just that creepy, and it was just kind of twisted. Nothing dirty or innuendo or anything like that. It just made you feel like, ooh, at the end of that movie, you just like, I can't shake this off. It was just something odd and weird about it. And then you've got movies like The Grudge, and you've got the movies like The Forest, and you've got movies that deal with a lot of different topics, and again, done in a horror style. So, horror movies and old spooky time characters. I always feared them as a child. I always feared the dark as a child. I was afraid at night. I was afraid to go to sleep in my bed without one eye open because I never knew what monster was standing at the foot of the bed wanting to grab me and wanting to drag me off into the darkness, never to be seen again. But thankfully, I never had that experience. Had a few times when I freaked myself out thinking that there was a monster outside. But nevertheless, I made it through my youth and my childhood unscathed by the werewolf. So thank you for coming by today. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day just to watch this brief little episode, or if you're listening on Buzzsprout, to listen to this brief little episode talking about movie monsters. What scared you? So check out the podcast. You can check it out on Buzzsprout. You can check it out on Apple, Google Podcast. We're on iHeartRadio. There's a lot of different platforms. Wherever you get your podcast or wherever you listen to your podcast, check us out, the Bearded Guy Podcast, and let us know what you think. Hit me up at beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. It's you, the listening audience, that I appreciate. Thank you for supporting me. Again, I don't make money at this. I do it because I enjoy making content. I enjoy creating video content and podcast content. So it's you, the listening audience, that really mean a lot to me for taking the time out of your day to listen to these or watch these episodes. So thank you. I hope you have a great day, a better day tomorrow, and a wonderful week ahead of you. And until next time, it is the Bearded Guy Podcast.